There was a happily married couple in England that had three children. And one evening they had dinner together, and the mum or the wife had gone upstairs to put the children to sleep. And while she was up there doing that, the guy decided to use the opportunity to try and extract the wife's best friend's numbers from the phone so that he could contact them to plan and organize a nice surprise 40th birthday party for the wife. So he got the phone, lying in the couch, and getting hold of all these numbers when the wife came down from the bedrooms upstairs and found the husband holding her phone. Oh dear, she went berserk. She lost it completely. And a big argument ensued. It started off with, "How dare you pick up my phone? How could you do this?" And the husband said, "But I just went in to get some numbers. The few of your friends that I was trying to call. For what? For what? If you want their numbers, can't you get that from me? Did you have to go scrolling in my phone? What? Where is all this thing about having privacy? Can't I just have a bit of privacy in my marriage?" Yada, yada, yada. The guy didn't understand why the wife was reacting like that because this was just an innocent thing. He just wanted phone numbers so he could call the friends. Okay. So this argument went on and on through the night for hours to the point where he was starting to lose it. Now, in order not to react violently, he decided to just get the keys and leave. Hopefully, the wife will blow off steam and things will come back to normal. And then they can have the conversation and settle whatever differences they had. So he grabbed his keys, started driving, and then decided to go to. There's this Caribbean couple that had taken their mom as their children, and they go spend their Sundays with them and have fun. The Jamaican couple were an older couple, so they were kind of, counseling and advising them, helping them to keep their marriage afloat. So he called them and they asked him to come over and spend the night. So he did. Following morning, he had to go to work, and he decided that his work was much closer to their parents, let me say that, their parents' place. And it made sense to just go to work from theirs rather than drive back home to get showered and then go to work. So he left theirs, had a shower, grabbed breakfast, and then went to work. On the way to work, he had to buy some petrol. And when he got to the booth to try to pay for the petrol he had bought, the card stopped working. He just thought it might be some customer service issue, didn't think any of it, called their adoptive parents that he had spent the night with, and the wife came and bailed him out with £50 to fill his tank, and he continued to work and she went back home. But things were beginning to get a bit strange because they couldn't understand how none of his cards seemed to work by the booth when he went to pay for stuff, only to then drive into work and find the police there waiting for him. So he turns up and they ask him, "Are you Mr. So and so?" He says yes. And they say that he's under arrest for abusing his spouse physically in the course of the night. And he's thinking, me? But I wasn't even home. "Oh yeah, but your wife reported us and said that you guys had a huge fight and an argument and you had laid your fingers at her." And he said, "Well, we did have an argument, but before it could get any more heated because she was so cross and she was behaving really funny, I decided to leave the house because I was getting mad too and I didn't want to do anything I would regret. So I went to live with our adopted family. Here is their number, you call them." Oh, by this time, they had put cuffs on him and they were driving him to the station. Oh, and by the way, because of that allegation, he was fired from work too, because the company thought it wouldn't look good on him. Didn't want nothing to do with bad press, so they let him go. This guy was fired. So by the time the investigations had been conducted by the police and everything had been done, this guy was now penniless, jobless, and the wife had gone round and gotten locksmiths to change all the locks in the house. So now he was also homeless. The only people who would take him in are the adoptive parents, and he went in and moved in with them and started living with them. So one thing, trying to surprise his wife and throw her 40th birthday party had now resulted in him losing his job, losing his home and his family, and now living off a couch of his adopted family. After the full investigation was finalized, it was actually found that the wife had a whole different life with some other man, and she had thought that the husband had actually found messages that had been exchanged between her and her new lover, and that was why she was so upset that the husband had picked up her phone. Now, he did build his life back up. He later got married again, found love again, and has gone on to have a whole new family. The children were given to the woman, the 3 children, they got divorced and all of that. But the point I'm trying to make here is that these are some of the things that happen in life. Every single day of your life, you never know what is around the corner. In this particular story, it was the wife that had caused so much commotion. But this is not an isolated case. It happens to a heck of a lot of people. Both men and women do bad things to each other. In this case, this woman really took this man to the cleaners. And if this man were my brother, I wouldn't even know where to begin to pick up the pieces. The point I'm trying to make here is that even with the best of intentions, even with the best investigation, even with the best assessment and everything, I've always told you that there is no art to tell the mind's construction in the face. You could be living with a man or woman who's kissing you every 30 seconds, but you just don't know what's going on in their brain. Sometimes men feel that they're the kings of the jungle. They're the only ones that know how to play the game and have extramarital affairs that the woman would never find out about. But I say that women, those of them who decide that that's the course of action that they want to take, can also be the masters and queens of the game. So be very, very careful. I want to advise my brothers today never to think or take anything for granted. Always watch out for the little signs, because it's the little signs that become the bigger signs in this life. Right? I've always said this, that in a happy relationship, it's very absolutely paramount that the 2 people involved in their relationship are completely honest and open to each other. Some people think they're open, but all they're telling you is half truths about the whole story. If you're going to be hot, be hot. If you're going to be cold, but don't play lukewarm, because even the Bible says that God hates anyone who just cannot have an opinion and stick to it. If you're going to be good, be good. If you're going to be bad, be bad. Don't blow hot and cold, right? It is so sad that something that started off as something beautiful can end up being your worst, absolute worst nightmare. I hear so many stories that are heartbreaking on a daily basis. In the area of my profession, I hear stories that are heartbreaking every single day. I also see a lot of success stories that actually melt my heart. But the point I'm trying to make here to everybody who has ears and can hear the sound of my voice is this, is that in this life, nothing is ever guaranteed. You're better off trusting yourself, not putting your trust in no man, and always, always, always having a plan B, a management strategy in place. And sometimes when some of these things are said, people are up in arms. But how can you be half-hearted in your marriage and relationship? How can you be in a marriage and claim to be happy and be making plans for? No, it's not about not loving the person that you're with. You do, but it's about also having a safety management strategy in place so that if anything happens, you are not out in the cold by yourself, because that is very possible. There's so many eventualities that can come up, unforeseen circumstances. Your spouse can lose his life, he can die. It happens. Your wife or husband can pass away suddenly. It happens. People get ill every day. I know somebody who was at a birthday party or throwing his son a birthday party. And, in the course of the enjoyment and excitement, he just went to grab his son and carry him. And he felt this sharp pain in his spine, dropped the kid, fell down by the side. And before they could say Jack Robinson, that final pickup was the last straw. There was a whole many years of telltale signs that there was something wrong that he had ignored. But that pickup of the 11-year-old son was that last straw, that last nail in the coffin that it took to take things over the edge. This guy was paralyzed from his waist down for the next 20 years and ended up not being here with us anymore. And if he knew that pickup was going to be the last straw that broke the camel's back, he wouldn't have picked up his son. Like, we live in a real life where things actually do happen. And so if you're a real person that wants to survive the test of time, that doesn't know what is round the bend, it is always it's actually important that you always, always, always think about the best things that can happen, and yes, dwell on those, but also have it at the back of your mind that things can also go dreadfully wrong. And if they do, have the strategies in place to pick up the pieces. Because this guy was caught on the blind side and given a smack on the face in the dark from behind where he couldn't see. And his whole world came crumbling down in half an hour just because of one action that he had taken. I know a lot of blokes walk around hearing stories like this and thinking, well, if these sorts of things can happen, well, what's the point? The fact of the matter is that they are still good people. And I still believe in love and chances and everything. Because, if you choose to go on that high ground of building glasses and metallic walls around your heart, you're not going to live a happy, fulfilled life. We just have to understand that hurt, rejection, pain is part of life. And sometimes it comes from the most unthinkable places. The people that you think that you know so well. Oh, this person could never do anything to hurt me. Oh yeah, but they're actually the ones that will. They are. But you can still find love in the most profound of ways, and the most obscure places that you can never ever have imagined that beautiful things can come out of. But all I want to say to somebody who's listening to me today is that always have your eyes open and catch the small signs, the telltale signs. Men especially are generally not very good at this. A lot of them don't have a lot of emotional intelligence, but also don't pay attention to the minute details. A lot of men do that. Women don't have to only open their mouth when they're speaking to you. It's in their mannerisms. It's with a lot of things. And it takes somebody who pays attention to detail to figure out. It doesn't take me very long to read people. And I think the profession that I chose is part of the reason, because any small change that everybody else would ignore could lead to catastrophic consequences. Yeah. And if you're a scientist and a chemist for that matter, you would know this, that if they ask you to pipette 0.2 milligrams of sulfuric acid, if you make it 0.25, your test will fail. It has to be to the T. If it's 0.2, then that's what it is. Pay attention for the small telltale signs, because they're always there, never to be, ignored. Who is that partner that always has to walk everywhere with his phone or her phone? Can't leave her phone for 2 seconds. Can't leave his phone for 2 seconds. There's some people that actually have held their phones to the washroom and either dropped it in a water closet or have been so absent-minded about what they have in their hands that they've poured water on it, a sponge, to bathe themselves. What is it that is on that phone, which is coded, that your other half doesn't want you to see or read? What is it? Ask yourself those questions. And if you can't find any logical answers to them, have your own thing in place. Life is meant to be enjoyed, but you have to enjoy it and still put measures in place. That this amazing man that I found that now loves me more than sense. Tomorrow when I need him and he's rejected me, what am I going to do? This beautiful wife that I have, if tomorrow she decides that she's found somebody who's 15 years younger than me, who can do the jiggy better than I can, what am I going to do? And always have an exit strategy in place. If it never happens, farewell and good. But if it does, you are not left out in the cold, in the rain, crying in the rain, because nobody would be able to differentiate between your tears and the rain. Guys, love hard, love well, but also have your eyes open. The telltale signs are always there. I love you guys so much. I want to see people succeed and thrive in 2023. If you haven't started to, reflect on your year and think about what it is that you actually want to achieve and take the actual necessary steps to make it happen, I have a live class on January the 7th. I've put out a pinned post on my page. You can click that pin post at the top of my page to the webinar and book your spot, because we're going to be talking about real life examples and things that you can do to set yourself up to have a different year in 2023. You've been procrastinating and talking about things and how Jesus is going to do this, that, and the other. Jesus will do it. Jesus answers prayers, but he also wants you to position yourself for the blessing. And that is where the planning all happens. So click on that link, sign up, and let's have fun on the 7th of January and learn how we're going to make 2023 a year among years. My name, as always, is Sika of Sika Educates. I love you guys so much, every single one of you. May the heavens bless you and may you never lack anything. I love you. Mwah. Bye.